Dewalt DCF 840 versus 845. So this video is going to be aiming to answer a couple questions. The first one is, what are the differences between these two drivers? The second thing I want to find out is the usefulness of the speed selector. And then the last thing I want to do is compare it to the 850, so I will be including the 850 in the bonus footage.
Yep. Oh shit. Okay, slower.
So in conclusion, the 840 versus the 845. On average, the 845 is more powerful than the 40 by a bigger margin than I expected. On the screws, it only beats it by milliseconds. So in terms of efficiency on the job site though, they're literally the same driver. If you're using it on tasks that do require the power to the point where you'll see the difference, you're probably using an impact wrench or Milwaukee. The only real difference is that the 845 has a speed selector. There was a minor difference in the log test where the 840 would spin out a couple of turns before gripping into the wood, whereas the 845 did not. If you are using these drivers to their limit though, it is notable that the 845 got much hotter than the 840 by an uncomfortable margin. So if I was consistently using these to their limits, I'd be concerned about burning out the 845.
This is hotter.
The XR is hotter?
Yeah, XR is hotter than this one.
And we only did one test?
Yeah. Feel it.
Oh, it's a lot hotter. What the hell?
If this burns out, I'm gonna laugh at your new toy.
Damn, that thing's burning.
You don't have a thermometer.
Ow, that actually hurt. This one's hot, but it's not as hot. This one's still burning. It was also pointed out to me, though, that on the front here, the oil on the 840 had started seeping through a lot more than the 845. I don't know what that says about long-term maintenance of this thing. I imagine it's just because the logs we were using were so large in the very first test, the previous test. So out of these two, if you don't have an impact driver and you were considering these ones, I would recommend the 845 because personally I do use the speed selector. If you already have the 840, you probably don't care about the speed selector because if you did, you probably would have gotten the 850. So if you already have the 840, in my opinion, there is no reason to upgrade. So now I want to specifically test the function of setting 1 on these two drills to compare them. So setting 1 has this special feature where you can pull the trigger, and then when the driver stalls, it'll sense that it needs to add more power, and then it'll kick in and it'll finish up the screw. And so we move on to the 845 versus the 850. Now we know that the 845 is stronger than the 850 because it is a little bit stronger than the 840. So the only thing that we can actually compare here is the speed selector settings. For driving screws, speed 2 and 3 are nearly identical. I don't actually know when you would want to use speed 2. I only use speeds 1 and 3. The real difference here is in speed 1. The auto sense feature for the 845 is a huge improvement from the 850. Now, personally, I didn't even know about this function until shooting this video. I've never used it before, and I really don't plan to use it in the future. I use speed 1 when I'm dealing with interior stuff like cabinets, shelving. I don't want to strip screws. I don't want to mess up the MDF. And it's super easy to do that, so I switch it to speed 1 so that I don't have the option of doing that. Out of these two, I would recommend the 845 if you're going to buy one, because it is more powerful and the auto sense feature is way better. If you already have the 850, again, I don't see any reason to spend money to make this upgrade. So the only issue I've ever had with the 850, which I can't seem to replicate on camera, is sometimes when you pull the trigger really slowly, you could pull it all the way down and nothing would happen. Overall, it is a really good driver and I do recommend it. Now, I didn't test the 887 against the 845. The 887 is what I've mostly been using for the past, for a while now, but my opinion remains the same for this one as it does the other two. If you were to be choosing one or the other to purchase, I would say go with the 845. But if you already have the 887, I don't see any reason to spend the money to upgrade. It feels like Dewalt is just rolling a 6-sided die and pushing out a different version of the same drill. On the bright side, there was a noticeable difference between the times in changing batteries, so at least we know that the batteries are a good investment. I am anxious to get my hands on the 5 amp hour power stack, but I don't want to pay that full price tag. So those are my thoughts on the new 845. Thank you to Stupid Genius for pointing out the function of the Speed 1 setting, the auto sense feature. And thank you to Sky Green and Jacob Sebastian for your comments in the previous videos. I took your comments into consideration when I was planning this video.
Yeah, I was gonna touch that one again.
You're out the side.
Way to throw your money away, Craig.
Did you show the battery?
No.
Other side. Dewalt.
Here, I got some drywall screws. Little skinny ones.
Drywall screws, aren't those
What are you doing?
bloopers? Yeah, that's set in 1 for you.
You pulling it all the way?
Here, you try. Yeah, setting 1. It just doesn't want to do it.
Is that as far as the trigger goes? I think it's missing. There we go.
Do you just have to hold the trigger?
You know what? Just go on the pre-drill lag.
Yeah, right here.
Buttered.